In the beginning, my world was made up of good and evil. I was an agent fighting for the agency, like many others before me. We were on one side, and the rebels were on the other. I thought I knew everything, but I was wrong. There is something else in this world. It was more powerful than anything else. A world we couldn't control, where the rebels could hide. It was the reason why we always were one step behind. This world was called the Dreamweb. Hey, what it do? What it do? What is up with you? Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about my favorite band in the world, A.Box. A.Box is an electronic future pop music band from Austria that I came across and have been a fan of since I was 19 years old. Husband even got me their retro album when I think I turned 21 or 22, and this was for my birthday, and I absolutely love this album. It's basically a throwback album to sounds of the Commodore 64. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Commodore 64 was an old video game system that was way back in the 80s. I think in the UK we had the Sinclair or the ZX Spectrum, but it's along the same lines. Commodore 64, Amiga, but this is a kind of throwback to the Commodore 64 days. So a lot of their songs have to do with that type of sound. But today they're dropping, or they've dropped by now, their pre-release listening teaser trailer that goes through all of their new songs for their new album, Black and White. And that is the 7th album that they've released. So I thought I'd commemorate the day by going through my favorite songs and basically pairing books with them based on vibes. So apart from having some really kick-ass songs in their discography, their albums all interwove together. When you listen to them, some songs tell you a cyberpunk sci-fi noir storyline. The beginning intro is from the entry, the travel guide, which basically goes through a lot more of the overall story. I just introduced some of it. There's so much more that was not put into that intro. But basically, the story is we follow a man named Black who works for the agency to uncover the Sleepwalkers, a rebel of hackers that have created their own world to hide from the agency. And it's called the Dreamweb. And it's super powerful because it gives people of this world, the world that's similar to ours but not really ours, an escape. And we are basically the first couple of albums go through Black's attempt to find the Dreamweb, try to uncover the Sleepwalkers, and things take interesting and very twisty turns, which I love. I love it so much. Um, it's only there are only, I think, a few albums that are a part of the Dreamweb. The whole discography, apart from Certainty and Retro, because it's not part of the universe, take part in the Dreamweb. is a part of the Dreamweb. Certainty as an album is just like a taster album. Uh, but I have gone through several of my books that I've read and haven't read to give you a taste of Mine in a Box. All of these books that I'm about to tell you are based on my favorite songs across the discography, apart from retro, because it's not a part of the overall thing. But if I feel like it, I will do a retro solo only reading recommendation. But if you want the vibes, here you are. So the first ever song I ever listened for Mind and Box is called Out of Time, and it basically talks about feeling out of sorts, feeling like you're not where you want to be, and you feel kind of like you're floating forever out of time. And I think the perfect book to go with that is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. I'm butchering her name, but the lyric that the little lyric verse, I guess, that I decided to pick this book up for was you ride the fabric of time. How long will you continue? How long will you exist? You dream the lives of others. What will guide your way? What will allow you to persist? You ripple the surface of time. Why can't you trust anyone? Why can't you escape malice? You leave the straits of the world. Where will you find your soul? Where will you find your peace? And I think that perfectly sums up this book. Um, you are following the unnamed narrator as she basically decides to take a year off to sleep. And you're effectively watching, some people say, you're effectively watching someone commit unaliving without committing unaliving. She's basically leaving the world behind and looking for a way to start a new one. And I think that perfectly sums up Out of Time. So the next book or song I'm going to recommend a book for is called Lost Alone. This is from the album Lost Alone. It is the self-title for this song. I could easily put up like most of this album. It's one of my favorite album. Stalker, no, not Stalker. Light and Dream is amazing. Question is phenomenal. Forever Gone is chef's kiss. I love this album, but one of the songs that I will put up is Lost Alone, and it talks about, it's basically from a perspective of someone who is watching somebody else go through something and is telling them, you're not alone in this. There's darkness all around you, and other people are going through some dark stuff. And a lot of the lyrics are, you know, I don't know who you are. You don't care for my trees. I only see you from afar. You can't see where you go. I can't you find you the way. You seem to don't know. I won't tell you to stay. Um, I don't feel you're alive. You don't know what to find. You close your eyes. I can't bring you to see. You forget your soul dies. I fear you won't be free. So a lot of that imagery, and I think Melmoth perfectly encapsulates all of that. Melmoth is all about this woman named Helen Franklin, and she's a translator, and she's given uh, a few journals to transcribe for a friend of hers, and all of these journals have one connecting thread, And that thread is a specter that comes to that person. All of these people have done atrocious things, and that specter gives them a way out from their guilt, and they could accept it or they can't. They won't accept it. It's all about guilt and realizing that you are not alone in your guilt and you're not alone in your dark place. And I love Melmoth and I love Lost Alone, and I think if you like the vibe of that, this is your book. Next is Escape from the Dreamweb album. This song is the singer talking to someone else, and basically, I'd like to think they're a lover, and they're asking them. They're on the cusp of splitting up, and they are basically asking them to stay. I need you. I need you to feel my pain. I need you to feel, quelch my fears. I need you to stop my crying. I feel trapped like before. I cast myself into a prison with bonds near impossible to break. I thought my life was built on reason, but now I know I've got to escape. And without them, without you, I can't escape. So a lot of being trapped, a lot of wanting to escape and not being able to escape and needing someone to help them escape. And I think The Hunger by Ridley Stryber is the perfect book for this song because this is all about a vampire named Miriam. She's the last of her kind. And every 200 years, she picks a human lover, and that human lover only lasts for 200 years. Eventually, age catches up with them, and she needs to find someone else. And in this book, she finds a scientist named Sarah, and yeah, a lot of luring Sarah in, and a lot of Miriam being by herself. It's a great book. Long chapters, though. Long chapters. It's only 12 chapters long, but long chapters. So you're gonna, and there's no audiobook for this, so you're gonna have to deal with that. But as for Escape, this book is perfect for that song. And so we make it to Crossroads. I love this album, as with all albums. I have two songs that I would love to recommend books for. The first one is called Introspection, and this is literally just a song with minimal lyrics. Minimal lyrics, and for the lyrics that do exist, by the way, it has a fantastic like beat drop. Amazing. Um, for the lyrics that do exist, it is they were watching me from the outside, and somehow I knew their names. Um, Knight and the friend just smiled at me, and then the glass shattered. And for that, Full Immersion by Gemma Amor, literally from just that. This is a book about a woman named Magpie. It's not her real name. You just get this Magpie. And she decides to sign up for a experiment because she keeps wanting to end herself. And Knight and the friend she signs up for this experiment. It's called Full Immersion, and alongside her is this shadowy figure that is anonymous and is her friend. And outside are two scientists, and then everything goes wrong. And I think Full Immersion is definitely the one for this song. It's a lot more in depth than the song, but for the vibes, Full Immersion. I'm gonna go a little bit faster because my camera's about to die. So, next is Amnesia. I love Amnesia. It's from the Crossroads album, and it's all about Black, the character, realizing that things aren't what they seem, and he's lost himself in this crusade to find the sleepwalkers. And I picked two books because this said two things to me, right? I first listened to it when I was like 19, and the lyrics fit Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Ware. A lot about losing your mind, having to fight this thing, not being sure of who you are. Um, and that's Harrow to a T in this book. And the next book that helped like fit with this is The Other Black Girl by Zakia Dalula Harris, The Other Black Girl. And this is because personally, for me, personally, this song talks about how, at least to me, I interpreted it this way. I had, being a black girl growing up in a black community in London, being a goth and listening to music that was not typical for me to be listening to as my ethnicity, being told that I was trying to be white and all of that stuff. So there's a lot in the album, in the song, that talks about losing your identity, not being who you are, um, other people telling you who you should be. And yeah, I personally, to me, thought of that when I listened to it many, many years ago, like way after I've decided that I am who I am and I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. I'm me. It makes up me. If you want all of this, that is me. I like black. I like dressing in black. I like gothic things. I like horror. I like rock music. I don't care what you think. And so yeah, The Other Black Girl. And this is a book about um someone being in a community that is one they feel lost in. And for me, that was my community. Don't get me wrong, I love being Jamaican. It's the most amazing thing in the world. But Jamaican is my family and me. And me is someone who likes a lot of really macabre and dark things. That's what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get you're not gonna get that. So yeah, this is like a thriller. I haven't read this book, so I just wanted to pop it up there with Amnesia. So next is Cause and Effect from the album Revelations. I've got two songs from Revelations that I absolutely love, and I could listen to this whole album on repeat, but for the sake of time and my battery going low, I'm just going to tell you about the two songs. And Cause and Effect is literally just that, cause and effect. And there's a lyric that made me think about the book that I was gonna choose for it, and it is called, it is says, "It was then I did not see all that things you could be, the source of so much loss and pain, where you think only of your gain. I sit and stare into the dark, so sad I don't think to hark to what was in the air long ago. Tell me to mend what I sow." And that, because of those lyrics, I'm going to choose the third book in the Chorus of Dragons series, The Memory of Souls. And this heavily goes into lore of the series and all about, like, you're gonna have to read the first two books, but don't worry, I got you. This goes into the lore of the main character Kieran and his relationship with the villain and his why he is part of this prophecy that is going to destroy everything. And like the lyrics perfectly hit on Karen's situation, especially the whole sitting in the dark and thinking about what happened a long time ago. A lot of stuff about reincarnation and mending what they sow, and it's the book, okay? The book that fits the song, and I love it. And remember when I said I got you for the A Course of Dragon series? Yes. So the next song is called Unknown. It is a part of the same album, Revelations, and it is a completely sagadelic sound, completely different, but still the same minor box. And I love this song. Love it so much. Every once in a while, minor box will go away from their original sound and incorporate a different sound into their sound, and it sounds amazing. It feels and sounds amazing. And Unknown is one of those songs. It's this 1970s vibe, uh but not 1970s where we think 1970s, but what like the 90s would imagine 1970 would sound like. And then it's mixed with that. It's phenomenal. But the song is about being in the unknown and crossing over to the unknown and trying to explain to someone the unknown. And this is the second book of the Chorus of Dragons series. The first book is The Ruin of Kings, but I don't have that on the shelf, and I don't really think it fits any song that I can think of, but this one does, because the main character in this song is Janelle Theranon, and she has the ability, when she goes to sleep, to cross over to the land of the dead, and no one knows how she can do that. It is a mystery of how she can do that. And yeah, crossing over into the unknown dead, land of the dead, is pretty spot on for this song, especially when it's talking about being in the unknown, trying to explain to someone what it's like being in the unknown, and it's a destination, and especially when you go there alone. It's this book. It's the book. It's the book. So now we are on to albums that came out when I was very much aware of Mind in a Box. Actually, Revelations came out when I was aware of Mind in a Box. That was 2013. I think 2012. But 2013, 2015, Memories came out, and I loved Memories. I am gonna say this all the time. I love the songs. Synchronized was a blast. Time the travel guide is what the beginning of this video was quoted from. Bad Dreams. Oh, I love that song. Oh, and Timelessness is the song that I'm going to talk about right now. And for Timelessness, a song that's talking about the feeling of timelessness. You know, the lyrics say it shows you how to move along and helps you find your own stride, where time is of no consequence. It starts to push your worries aside. It slowly affords its own song, crawling up all the way inside. Your mind is immersed in music and finally not afraid to confide. You are deep, you feel deep, a deep sense of sacredness. You fall asleep, you feel timelessness. Timelessness. Tiny stars are circling all around. Your mind is filled and full of sound. Everything else discontinued. Let the music submerge you. Love. Love it. And for that, I'm going with the Glenda story by Jewel Gomez. This is all about a slave girl who gets turned into a vampire way in the 1800s, and every now and again you pop up in different places in her story. You're following her as she goes through the different times, the different ways that life changes all the time, and she just pops up in a different time. You'll be in 1800s America, then you'll be in 1950s America, and then 2020 America, and the book ends, I think, in 2030, 2030, I think, or 2045, and you're there, and the world is in ruin, and she just goes along with it all in her own sense of serenity, because she is timeless. She has an air of timelessness. I love this book. It's one of my favorite vampire novels. It's a classic vampire novel because it features one of the first black female vampires. It's also queer literature, and I love it. I love it. And it's the perfect the perfect book for timelessness. Oh my god. We're in the home stretch, and now in the most recent, I say most recent, it came out in 2017. This is the album Broken Legacy, and I have two songs for this. The first being Glory Days. It's all about looking back and having a great time before everything gets really screwed up. And for that, I'm giving you The Secret of the Tides by Hannah Rachel. And this book is all about uh, Pandora. And when she was little, she had this family life. Perfect family life. Her mom and dad loved each other. Their they lived near a seaside town in this house, and she loved it. She was young and happy, and then something happens, and it ruins this once happy home, and there are dark secrets, and Pandora gets the blunt of it, and you are uncovering these secrets as you go along. And sadly, Pandora cannot relive those glory days when she was young and everything was great, because things got broken apart very quickly, and she can never go back to that. Whoops, battery died. Anyway, this is my final song, the final song that I love from my A.Box, from their Broken Legacies album, the penultimate album before this current one comes out. Um, Arcade, favorite song, amazing intro, and I picked the book from these lyrics. I'd swore I'd make a name for myself. I'd swore I'd never be just an ordinary, but somehow I missed my power up unlock, and now the only bits I can see are primary. Give no more take, promises I'll make, making things right, clear is my sight. Lies. One final quarantine set, and no more continues, paralyzed by indecision and indifference between the channel lights and neon hues. I swore I'd burn my life onto the world. I swore I'd never settle for anything less. But somehow I just can't seem to get away from this arcade of life and its maniacal carcass. Love the song, love the lyrics, and the book that I chose for this is Looking for JJ by Anne Cassidy. This is all about a 16-year-old girl. Her name is JJ, and when she was 10 years old, she killed her friend, and she served her time, and she was released when she's 16 years old. She's put in the care of this woman who's like foster care, and she is trying to live her life while thinking that she doesn't deserve it, and She is living a life that her friend should have had, and she doesn't deserve to live that life. So the whole book is her going through whether or not she should actually live her life, and how can she make right the things that she did wrong, and how is she able to do that when the media, the British tabloids, the media are making it difficult for her. They publish things about her. They basically say, "Oh, this girl is now going to have a life and her victim won't have a life." So it's kind of piling on to the 16-year-old girl who did this when she was 10 years old and already thinks she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve to have a life. She doesn't deserve to live because she took a life. And I think that's why this book is perfect for Arcade, especially with what Arcade is talking about. Anyway, and that's it. That is it. Um, those are 11, I think, books that go with these songs that I've loved for many, many years, and I cannot wait until Black and White is out. It comes out on August 30th this year. I'm excited for it. They've already released the pre-listening trailer for the album where they basically showcase the different songs that are going to be in the album. This album is going to be their longest at 72 hours, and I'm going to listen to all of it. My life is going to be mine in a box for the next month. But all of the songs that I mentioned, along with all of the books, will be in the description below so you can listen to them. And as always, tack så mycket för att du tittade. Hoppas du har en bra dag. Hejdå och natti natti. Or good dog if it's daytime for you.